Good morning, everyone. We are going to be starting Unit 3 today, even though you haven't done your Unit 2 test, which of course is going to be next week. All the information are posted on eCentennial. We're going to go ahead and get started with Lecture 9. But just in case you missed it, let's just take a look at the announcement I posted online over here. So the test is going to be on March 25th, and March 25th is going to be next Monday, right? Okay, so no class next Monday. You just do your quiz, do your test, right? And 75 minutes. And these are the format: 30 questions, multiple choice, 5 application, 5 multi-select. And also, there's a review package that you can do. Lab 2 is also available. And there is an old recording of me taking up the test package as well as Lab 2. So you can watch that, to check your answers. And the lab quiz, it's available now, but it will be available until the day before the test. Okay, so just like before, it's going to be 2 attempts, and the highest mark is going to be recorded. Okay, so that's everything that's coming your way. But this week we're going to be learning Lecture 9, right? And both days. Okay, it's a long lecture. So let's get started. Lecture 9 is urinary system, and the urinary system, of course, is going to help us remove waste product from the body. So that's
Excuse me,
yeah.
I have a question. Um, can you review for lab quiz before to date?
So that's what the video is for, okay? So like,
Okay,
the recording, yeah, it's done in there because we are tight on time, right? If I review during our regular time, we're not gonna have time for the actual lesson. That's the reason, okay?
okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
no problem. Okay, so excretion is the removal of metabolic waste from the body. And the waste is often going to exist in the blood, right? And so what the urinary system do is that it will take those waste product and then put it into the urine. And waste product includes things like urea, which is a product of protein metabolism. When we break down our proteins, the amino group gets converted into urea. And then there are also things like ammonium, creatinine, which is like a byproduct from muscle metabolism, and uric acid. So there's a lot of things that we need to remove. If they accumulate in the blood, they tend to cause problem for us. So like too much uric acid, for example, can cause gout, right? Gout, which is these build up in the joints, and they cause them to become swollen, and it's very painful. So the urinary system helps remove these waste products. That's called excretion. The kidney also helps maintain homeostasis. So there are 3 examples that we're gonna look at. There's water-salt balance, right? When to retain water, when to get rid of it, when to hold on to the salt in the blood, and when to excrete it. That's, as you will see, regulated by hormones that are secreted from the kidney. And there is also blood pressure regulation, as well as acid-base balance. So we're not going to be able to get to these things until much later on in the lesson, probably not even today. Okay. Today's focus is just to learn the anatomy of the kidneys. That actually will take quite a bit of time. Next class, we will do the function, the physiology aspect of the urinary system. So lots of drawing today. Hopefully you have your, uh, you know, drawing pad with you, and yeah, here we go. Yeah. Oops, sorry. Okay, so you might remember some of these things. There is the abdominal aorta, and coming down from your regular aorta, right? Okay, so let me just label this for you first. Sorry. This is kidney. Kidneys overview. So you're gonna have your abdominal aorta. You remember the aorta, right? From the heart, the one that comes out at the top, and then it arches down, goes behind the heart, and then it goes to your abdominal area. That's the abdominal aorta. And what's going to happen is the abdominal aorta is going to split. It's going to split into left and right, like that. And those are your renal artery. Right? That was one of the first thing I taught you, right? There are different arteries that supplies different part of the body. And the renal artery is going to be supplying your kidneys. So we have two kidneys. Right? So there's going to be one of the kidneys, and then that's going to be another kidney. Now, on top of the kidneys, there is a gland. Okay? It just sits on top of it as if the kidney is wearing a hat. Anybody know what that gland is? That's where your adrenaline comes from. Anybody know what that's called? Just wondering.
Adrenal gland.
That is right. That is the adrenal gland. That's why it's called adrenaline, right? So in addition to adrenaline, it actually secretes other hormones that, for example, plays a role in maintaining water salt balance in the body, controlling blood pressure, for example. So we're going to learn all that later. Coming out from the adrenal kidneys, we also have the veins. Okay, so like the veins are gonna come out and it's gonna go back to the heart. Let me just extend that arrow. It's pointing to the red one. So like that one is the renal vein. Renal vein, just kind of tucked in right there. How about this one that's going up back to the heart? What is that one? You already learned it.
Inferior vena cava.
Excellent. That is the inferior vena cava. Okay, so of course the diaphragm is there, right? Which we're not going to draw. And, make a mental note that it's there. Kidney, huh? You have two? All right. So from the kidney, we're going to have a tube that comes out. Like that. Those are your ureters. ureters. The urine's going to come out of the kidneys. It's going to go into the ureter, which connects to this. And what might that be? Anybody? You should know this one.
Bladder.
That's right. But we have more than one bladder. So we should specify this is the urinary bladder. As opposed to what's the other bladder, guys? The one we learned last class?
The gallbladder.
That's right, the gallbladder. This is the urinary bladder. Okay. And then the urine's gonna come out. And that's the urethra. Okay. Many people confuse the ureters with the urethra. They are different things, okay? Ureter connects the kidneys to the urinary bladder. Urethra is where the urine's gonna go through to come out of the body. So urethra is longer in male than it is in female. And so female generally are more prone to urinary tract infections. Okay. That is the overview of the kidney.
Excuse me.
Mhm.
Where the stone kidney established in the kidney
Kidney
down
stones?
top.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
kidney stone is gonna form inside the kidney, and then
Mhm,
sometimes they might come out and then they get stuck in the ureter.
mhm.
And then that's when it's gonna be very painful, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they may even get stuck in the urethra. Okay. And then it causes the, like kind of like a backlog of buildup of pressure. And that's really, really painful. Okay. So sometimes like if people who have kidney stones, right, they have to sometimes there are medications to take, but then usually they would be asked to pee in a strainer, right? Because the
Mhm.
medication is gonna help break the stone to smaller pieces, and then they kind of have to pee it out, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I had experience.
Oh, it's very painful, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, yeah. So not a good thing to have, but usually they don't have to do surgery. Right? Sometimes they might use shock wave to shatter the stone as well. Okay, so now we're gonna open up the kidney. Okay, kidney structure. Okay, now I would recommend you do what you want, but I would recommend if this is paper, I would recommend you drawing a big kidney like that. Okay, because we're gonna add a lot of stuff to it. Usually I label the diagram for you, right? But I think kidney is even more confusing than the brain. So I think it's better if we just draw it once together first. Okay. Like brain was already a little bit difficult, right? With so many parts, but the kidney, I don't know. Personally, I think it's a lot. Okay. So there's your kidney. Looks like the kidney bean, right? That's why they're called kidney bean. It's actually the bean that looks like the kidney, not the other way around. So there you have it. This is the right kidney, I mean the left kidney, I suppose, looking at it from the front. So this is where you know, the renal artery goes in, just to, rewrite some of the stuff. So it makes sense to you. And then of course there is the, hiding behind it. Right? There is the renal vein. And just to make sure that you guys are all awake, what is this thing? Oops. What is this?
The ureter.
The ureter, that's right. Thank you. And that's where the urine's gonna be coming out, right? Okay, so this part right here, let me just make it a little bit darker, this part right here. The little indentation, the concave part of the kidney. That's called a hilum. Okay, the hilum. This is besides diaphragm, this is the second most misspelled word in the course for in-person people when they have to label a diagram. Everybody, well, not everybody, but like, you know, usually over half of the class, they put helium, but this is hilum. Okay. We get confused between chemistry and biology. This is hilum. That's just talking about the indentation. Okay, the indentation. Okay. So the concave part of the kidney. It's where all the stuff goes in and out. Arteries, veins, ureter. Now I don't know if you ever see kidneys at supermarket, like pig kidneys, for example. They have it. It's pretty common actually. I've seen it. Probably not at like, you know, not at No Frills, but like I think I've seen it at Loblaws too. But a lot of supermarkets they carry kidneys, okay? And the pig ones are very similar to the human ones, okay? A long time ago, we used to do, you know, dissection of a kidney in class, but that was, you know, just like it was too much logistical issues. Like, you know, we can't just dump it into the garbage apparently because it was like health hazard or something like that. Anyway, so we stopped doing it. But a long time ago we did that, and it's very similar. So next time you are at the supermarket, maybe try to take a look at it. Okay, the color of it, the feeling of it, the texture of it, it's very similar to the human ones. Okay, you poke at it, it's actually pretty elastic. The surface. So that elastic casing that goes around the kidney, which I'm gonna try to outline here for you. Okay, of course it covers the entire kidney. Okay, like even the surface here. But we have to cut open the kidney to see what's inside. So I'm just gonna draw the outside here. Okay, so there's a like a fibrous casing that goes around the kidney. It protects it. There we go. So that casing is called the renal capsule. Okay, it's just a fibrous connective tissue that surrounds the entire kidney. Okay. All right. So if we slice the kidney open with a frontal section, so cut it into front and back, and you look at the inside, you're gonna see little triangles. Little triangles. Okay. And depending, you know, where you cut it, like sometimes you might see more triangles than other sections. Okay. And sometimes you might have bigger ones, smaller ones. And just to keep it simple, I'm just gonna draw three, okay? Just gonna draw three of these. Okay. Remember, there could be more. In fact, there probably will be more than three, okay? Cut it open and you will see. So this this cone shape structure, it's called the renal pyramid. Okay? This looks like a pyramid with a pointy end. Renal pyramid. Okay, I'm gonna do another one here. Renal pyramid. Never mind what it does at the moment. Okay, I will explain later. It takes a lot of explanation. Just know how to identify it for now. Now the space in between the two pyramids, like this empty, not empty, but this like the tissue in between, that's called renal column. Renal column. So it's like, you know, pyramid, column, pyramid, column, pyramid. And together, that is in the inside of the kidney, and we call that the renal medulla. Okay. So the renal medulla is made up of these pyramids and columns. So what about the outside? What do we usually call the outside of an organ? We learned this in the brain. The outer part of the cerebrum. We call it the cerebral. What's the word I'm looking for? Starts with a
Cortex?
cortex. That's right. So this is, of course, talking about kidney. So we say renal cortex. Cortex is outside, medulla is inside. Same thing with the adrenal gland. As you will see, adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla. They do different things. Okay, I just want to plant an idea in your head and we'll explain later. Okay, the renal medulla, the inside, is saltier, okay, compared to the renal cortex. It's important to have this difference in order to produce urine. Okay? Again, I'll explain later, but for now, just try to remember every time you see the medulla and the cortex come up, make a mental note that the inside is saltier. In fact, the deeper you go into the kidney, the saltier is going to be. When I say saltier, I literally mean saltier. There's more NaCl. Okay. Any questions about any of the stuff on the screen right now before I burden you with more
Yeah.
more detail? Yeah, go
Question.
ahead.
So for the hilum, does the sorry, what was the renal capsule cover that as well, or is it like
Yeah,
busy with
it
the
does.
artery?
It does. Yeah.
Okay, so it goes right through there.
Right.
Okay,
But
thank
of
you.
course, like there's probably like a little opening for the arteries and stuff to go through, right? Okay. So that's that. Now let's take a closer look at the pyramid. Okay. If you think of the pyramid as oops, don't draw this. But if you think of the renal pyramid as a wedge of watermelon, okay, the tip right here, right, the sweet part, that's this tip, right there. Maybe I should use a different color. There's the tip right there. So that tip is called the renal papilla. Renal papilla. And I will explain more later. We're almost there. Now, outside of the renal papilla is an empty space. Okay, we'll draw it like that. I'll give you a moment to draw this in. Okay, so I'll shade it in. Immediately outside of the papilla is a small space. Okay. That small space is called the minor calyx. Okay. Minor calyx for singular, and a pearl is a CES, singular, plural. So like a small area, and then there's a bigger area right here. Right? So this here, the bigger area, that's the major calyx. Okay, major calyx. As a loose analogy, it's like this. If you go to a movie, right, this is the auditorium, and then this is the auditorium. Don't draw this. Okay, and then this is like the, let me try this one more time. Okay, it's like, you have all these auditorium where you watch the movies. Okay, and then this is like the bigger area, right? Like, and then this is like the person who checks your ticket before you can go through the turnstile to go in, right? So if these auditoriums are like the renal pyramid, okay, then the area outside here, that's the minor calyx. And then they all join together to like a bigger space, the major calyx. So in terms of the urine, what's going on is that the renal papilla will continuously make urine. I'll tell you how later. Okay. But then they will be collected at the papilla, and then it will drip out. Kind of like a melting icicle, if you would. Okay. Like when you have icicle and the eaves drop, and then they're melting, and then it's just like dripping from the tip. It's kind of like that. Okay. And then when the urine comes out, they are going to be collected in the minor calyx, which then drains into the major calyx. Okay. And then just one last thing. This area where the ureter comes out, like at the beginning of it, it's like a particular thick area. They also give it a name. It's called the renal pelvis. Renal pelvis. So for now, just think of it like this. In terms of the urine flow, it's from the renal pyramid. Okay, so urine flow. We're going to add more details to it later. Renal pyramid, it's going to go to the tip. Renal papilla. Minor calyx. Major calyx. Just let you catch up first. Where to next after major calyx? Where's it gonna go?
The renal pelvis
Yeah,
to the ureter.
that's right. Renal pelvis. Ureter. Where next? Where do we go next? After the ureter.
Urinary bladder and then the urethra.
That's right. Urinary bladder. Is everybody okay? Any questions? Does the diagram make sense? I hope the drawing is helping, huh? It's not for everybody. Some people hate it when I draw. But I think mostly, it's helpful for majority of the people. So that's that. Okay, catch up, copy whatever you need, and then we're gonna do more.
Professor, what separates the minor calyx to major calyx?
Say that one more time.
What separates to minor calyx and major calyx? Is
Oh,
there
it's no separation. It's just exactly like it's just an empty space. It's like a smaller room connected to a bigger room. There's like no barrier. It's literally just, you know, the same space, but you know, it opens up a little bit. Okay, so this is what we drew. You can study it yourself. This is a female, and you can see there's the uterus right there. Uterus. It's a little bit behind and a little bit on top of the urinary bladder. And so during pregnancy, especially later on in pregnancy, that's why there's the frequent urination, right? The urge to go to the bathroom, because the uterus is growing. The baby's growing in the uterus, and the bigger uterus is pressing down on the urinary bladder, right? Men does not have the uterus, of course, but what's the structure in men in place of the uterus that could also sometimes be pressing on the urinary bladder, although this is not a normal thing to happen, but it could. What's in that space? Anybody? No?
Testes?
Prostate?
The prostate, thank you. And none of the men knows the answer, unfortunately. Thank you, Patrice. The prostate is there. Okay, prostate is right here. It's much smaller, and sometimes the prostate can get enlarged. Okay, sometimes is not a reason to concern. Sometimes it could be early signs of prostate cancer, and then it presses on urinary bladder, and the person might have the frequent urge to urinate. That's why it's recommended to get the prostate checkout for men over 40. Anyway, that's everything we learned about so far.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For the kidney and the ureter, for people who have to do like a kidney transplant or something like that, does the ureter also get
They have to,
transplanted?
they have to reconnect the ureter. They have to reconnect the ureter. So when they take out the kidney, I think they keep the renal pelvis, and then they just have to, you know, disconnect the old one and then stitch the old one to the incoming one. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
So urine are produced by a pair of kidneys. We know that already. You can live with one kidney. That's possible. The ureter transport the urine from the kidneys to the urinary bladder. When the urinary bladder is full, urine empties to the outside through the urethra. Basically what I told you. The only thing I haven't told you from this slide is this thing called the renal fascia. That's not part of the kidney, but it's like a connective tissue that surrounds the kidney. So the kidney doesn't like bounce around in your abdominal cavity. Okay, like when you're lying down or doing cartwheels and whatnot, the kidney is held in place kind of by these bubble wraps, right? Like those styrofoam packing stuff, right? I think medicine you taught me last semester, they're called the packing peanut or something, the S shape of styrofoam. It's kind of like that, the renal fascia, and it keeps it in place. Okay, it's basically a connective tissue with some adipose tissue in it, and it keeps the kidney warm, keeps it in place. Okay? The kidney are bean-shaped and reddish brown in color. And it's not too big, okay? It's a little bit bigger than your fist, and it's covered by the renal capsule, as I told you. The concave side of the kidney has a depression, which we call the hilum, and that's where the arteries and the veins, as well as the ureter, is going to be going in and coming out. This is the real picture on the left. And you know, Mohammed, you were asking, right? Like what separates the minor and the major calyx? Nothing, right? It's just the space that's immediately outside of the papilla, that's the minor, and then it just goes into this bigger area called the major calyx. Okay, and then it goes into renal pelvis, and then it goes out. Okay, so it's good to, you know, Google up some kidney picture. Even real ones, okay, and just to match the drawings, you know, at the cartoon with the actual thing, and see, you know, how much of it you can match up. All right, so that's that. Now let's go to our study guide. I hope you have it. Okay, there is the diagram at the very end. This is a very long study guide. There's a lot of stuff we have to label. Okay, but let's go to this one. Okay, I really want you guys to work on this. I don't do this often because sometimes people don't like it, but I'm gonna try to split you guys up into groups and maybe give you, like, you know, about 10 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to do this together. Okay, into your small groups. All right, and then we'll come back together. How do I do this? Give me a second. Okay, how many people do we have? Okay, let's just put like you know, 3 people per group. Okay, 3 or 4 people. 8. Okay, so go ahead, go to the room. Okay, talk to each other, please. Okay, work together. Go. And then we'll come back and you know, take up some of these things. Have the study guide with you, but that's okay. So I saw lots of talking though, right? I could see the mics moving and stuff like that. So I hope you had a productive time. So let's take this up very quickly. You probably had a bit of a hard time deciding whether A is the artery or whether C is the artery. Anybody? Like, what's the verdict? Which one is which?
I think the A is the renal artery. Our group kind of agreed on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. This one is a little bit thicker. Like, I don't want you to think about, you know, which one is in the front and which one is at the back. It kind of varies from diagram to diagram. But generally speaking, the as you learn, right, from me in the cardiovascular unit, the vein is going to be the one that's, you know, have a wider diameter, right? So that's the renal vein, and then we have the artery kind of, you know, in this case tucked in the back. And you would know, like, if you open up like the body and look at it, the vein is going to be like bluish in color, right, for real. And then, you know, that's going to be the renal artery. Okay, anyone else, anything else? Just, you know, either type in the chat box, okay, like type in like, you know, D is whatever, or like you can unmute and tell me. Please go ahead. What have we got?
So B is the hilum.
B is the hilum. Yes, very
D
good.
is the renal pelvis. E is the ureter.
Okay, very good.
I guess I
Renal.
shouldn't tell you all of them. I have to let someone else have a chance.
It's okay. I was anyone else wanna participate here, guys? You know, help me out.
G is a major calyx and M is a minor calyx.
Okay, yeah, I agree. And hey, you know, don't worry if you don't have the diagram and or like you cannot keep up with filling it in. I'm gonna post this, right, online afterwards. Sorry, Homayon, what's the other one that you said?
M is a minor
M is the
calyx.
minor, yeah, minor calyx,
Minor,
yeah, very
yeah.
good. Okay, so here it might help if you draw the little triangles for yourself. Okay, you will see that. Okay, there is the pyramid, right? Yeah. So immediately the space outside of the pyramid That's going to be the minor calyx, major calyx. Okay, what else? Sarah, very good. I was about to ask what F is. That's the renal capsule. Anything else?
I
Or
is a
H?
cortex.
Which ones? I is the cortex. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm not
medicine. You say?
completely clear on H because it looks kind of weird, and I don't
Yeah, H.
remember.
I actually did not give it to you. This is called the renal sinus. It's just like the space between all the arteries and veins and and the ureter. Yeah, so that's the one that we did not draw. Blessing. D is the renal pelvis. Yep, you got it. Anything else, guys? 4 more to go.
J is the renal pyramid.
J is the renal pyramid. Mix, which one did you say?
L is the renal column.
L is the renal column. Yeah. And these two together makes up the renal medulla, right? J is the papilla.
K.
K is the papilla, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, K, right here, right? You see the tip? Right, just the tip. All right, Tahib? So that's the renal papilla.
E will be ureter.
This is a ureter. Okay? So I hope you've drawn it now, you've labeled it. I hope you have a good understanding of the kidney. All right? Any questions? All right.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead. No. Yeah. Go ahead.
We have more. I can see 5 right now. Pyramid.
5 pyramids,
But,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably more
Each
like
pyramid.
this. Yeah.
Each pyramid. Yeah. More. Each pyramid has the same function or a
Yeah.
different function.
They have same function, yeah. Which I haven't told you
thank
what the function is yet, okay? But we know urine is going to be made, partly in the pyramid. Okay?
Thank
Yeah. All right, so that's that. Let's go back to here. Blood supply to the kidney. Okay? So the kidney's main job is basically filter out waste from the blood. And then, you're going to excrete it into the urine, right? So approximately 1.1 liters of blood flows through the kidneys every minute. That is 20% of your cardiac output. Of all the blood that gets pumped out from the heart, 20% of it is going to be dedicated to go to the kidneys, where you're going to filter them. And as you know, the kidney receives blood from the renal artery, which branches off from the abdominal aorta. So there are 2 questions here. Why don't we quickly do this? I'll launch the poll. I forgot my my tea upstairs. Let me go get it quickly while you do the polls. Okay, so what connects the kidney to the urinary bladder? Well, from the drawing, from the labeling, hopefully you know it is the ureter. And most of you got it right, so that's good. The urethra, it's like, takes it out of the body, right? Okay, how about this one? Cone shape. You should know this. This is very straightforward. Okay, the cone shaped stuff, it is the pyramid. So why don't I give you some good news to cheer you up a little bit in case all these kidney stuff is getting you a little bit stressed
Professor, I have
out.
a question.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
It's not be renal papilla because that is the cone shape as well.
Oh, the cone shape as in like the whole thing, the whole cone. Yeah. This is a cone,
Okay.
right? The tip would be, it would be like the tip of a cone, I suppose.
If the questions come for papilla, you will say tip of the.
Yeah, tip of the pyramid. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Papilla means a knob. That's what it means. The papilla means a knob. Remember from the tongue, right? Here. That's the taste buds are on the side here, right? So that's a papilla as well.
Thank you.
Yes, so the good news, what's the good news? For quiz 3, okay, quiz 3, which I don't know when it's happening. Probably it's gonna happen after your test for sure. I think it's the week after the test. I'll have to double check. But quiz 3 is gonna be on the kidneys, right? Okay. Usually people don't do too well on quiz 3. I actually went into it and I made it easier compared to last semester. I, rephrase some of the question. I took out some of the harder ones. And I'm gonna give you 2 tries, okay? 2 attempts. Okay.
The lab quiz 3.
No, the quiz 3, not the lab, the actual quiz, the 10% one.
Yes. How are we going to do diagrams and all?
How are you gonna do diagrams? The same way that you've been doing. I mean, like there might not be diagrams, okay? And if there are diagrams, it's just gonna be like multiple choice. The same way that it's the same as quiz 1 and quiz 2, basically, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so 2 attempts, okay? But I can't make it too easy. So 2 attempts, but then the score is gonna be the average. Average of 2. Okay? So like if you got like 90% on the first try, then maybe don't do another one. Okay, just keep the 90s. If you get like 70, you can try again. Let's say you get 80 on the second time, then you're gonna get a final score of 75, right?
Does it give the score right away?
Yeah. This time you'll get the score right away. You won't see which one you got wrong though, but you will see the score right away this time. Okay. I don't know. Hopefully that's a little bit more, better for you. Okay, well, don't put your crayons away. We're gonna draw more kidneys. If this next part is confusing. But we will draw more kidneys. And then we'll have a break. Okay, so fresh page, please. Fresh page. Fresh page. This is blood supply. To the kidney. Okay, so again, don't be stingy with the paper. A big, nice kidney. Because you don't want to cram too many things together. Okay, so I'm gonna do my best kidney here. There's the kidney. There's the hilum. Okay. Now I'm gonna throw in a few pyramids here. There we go. One. It's kind of like drawing a lemon wedge or like a lime wedge. Something like this. Just 3. Pyramid, papilla. But our focus is gonna be the blood vessels. Now, I'm gonna alternate between 2 colors. Right? Every time the blood vessel splits, I'm gonna change color to make it easier for you to keep track. Okay, so I'm just gonna alternate between like a dark, like a red, and then maybe like a pink or something. Okay, so we already know that there is this abdominal aorta. Coming in. Nothing's new. Okay, you can color it if you want. And then it's gonna branch off into, the renal artery, right? Nothing's new so far. There we go. So blood's gonna be coming down, renal artery, and this is gonna go to the other side as well. But this is renal artery. It's gonna enter the kidney through the hilum. And when it's inside, it's gonna split. It's gonna split into smaller ones. Okay, smaller ones. These smaller ones, maybe I should also use the same color here. Give me a second, sorry. The smaller ones here, they are called the segmental artery. They're little segments, branches off. Just let me know if I'm going too fast. So the segmental is gonna branch into more blood vessel that goes up the side of the pyramid. It's gonna go up the sides of the pyramid, just around the edge. Okay, so again, I'm switching color every time they branch. Okay, so the blood's gonna go up on the side. Okay, so these ones, okay, these are called interlobar artery.
Why doesn't it go like right on the back? Does it like not like the back or?
Oh, it does, but
What's
then
that?
that's another name. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. It's never ending, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm gonna let you draw that out. Okay, so abdominal aorta, renal artery. As soon as it enters the hilum, splits into these segmental arteries. And then the segmental artery kind of go towards the papilla, and then they, goes up the side. And then they gonna go to the back. They're gonna go to the back. And kind of forms a loop, if you would. And this one that is at the back, it's called the arcuate. Like, you know what an arc is, right? An arc is like literally the outside is the arc. And apparently the adjective for arc is arcuate artery. Yeah, so same thing over here. Arcuate artery. I'm not gonna label it. You can if you want. Okay. From the arcuate artery, there are a smaller one that comes out. kind of like little hair, if you would. Just come out like that. Okay, so little blood vessels there. Now they are in the cortex, right? They extend into the cortex. So the adjective is cortical. And they're coming out from the same source. So that's called radii artery. CRA, cortical radiate artery. Same acronym as the text people. Now I'm gonna take one of these guys out, huh? Okay. If you take one of these things out, just like stretch it out, I suppose. That's like the cortical radiate artery. And then this would be the arcuate. I'm just zooming in, okay, in case you are confused what I'm doing. I am not making this up. It actually does happen. From the cortical radiate artery, you have even smaller ones coming out. It's like the hair have hairs, okay? These smaller ones is called afferent. Afferent arterial. Okay. Afferent arterial. And then something else happens, okay? I cannot go through everything right now. We have to learn something else first. So there is gonna be like a little gap here, little blank that we're gonna fill in later. Something else happened, and then eventually, the blood is gonna come back out. Now I'm just gonna. I don't know if you want to draw this. You might not want to because it's gonna make it even more complicated. But you know you're gonna have the vein version coming back out. Okay, so instead of calling it the cortical radiate artery, now they're called the cortical radiate vein. At least the name is the same. And then next to the arcuate artery, you're gonna have the arcuate vein. And then next to the interlobar artery, you're gonna have the interlobar vein. I'm not gonna draw it. Like the diagram is already very busy, right? Just know that they're next to each other. Now, some of the older textbooks, they don't have a segmental vein. Okay, so from the interlobar artery, it just goes straight to the renal vein. But then the newer textbooks, they have a segmental vein. It doesn't really matter, okay? Like, I'm not gonna attest you on that, but just know that there is a little discrepancy, okay, between older textbooks and newer textbooks. Okay? So from the interlobar vein, it might go straight to the renal vein. Some textbook will say, others will say, okay, there is like segmental vein as well. Any questions about this diagram here? Okay, so the blood goes in, circulates throughout, and then eventually is going to come back, you know, through the renal vein, renal vein. Right? Let's take a look at the professional drawing. That's essentially what we just drawn. Let's just trace out the path one more time to see. Okay, so we have the renal artery, segmental, and we're going to go up the interlobar, the arcuate, and then the cortical radii. Right? Now this one doesn't have the afferent arteriole, but that's okay. We'll come back to it later. Okay. So this is like if you take a slice right here, take a slice, zoom in, and you see it. Okay. We have the interlobar artery and veins going up from the side. That's actually a terrible color. It doesn't really show up. Okay. We have this coming up from the side. Right? You see that? And then you have the arcuate artery on the rim. And then these little ones that are coming up. That's also not a good color, is it? I don't know. Can you see? These ones, right? Those are the cortical radii artery, right? And coming out from the cortical radii artery, you see the afferent arteriole. That's the one that's going sideways, right? So you can trace out the path again. Renal artery, segmental artery, interlobar going up the sides, arcuate forming the wedge on the outside of the cone, right? And then cortical radii artery, afferent arteriole, and then all this stuff that I haven't taught you yet. The point is, afterwards, they just come back out, right? You see the cortical radii vein, arcuate vein, interlobar vein, and then it skips the segmental vein and just goes directly back to the renal vein. This cone here, you see the cone is a renal pyramid. The papilla is the tip. And then the minor calyx is right outside the tip, catching the urine that's coming out from it. So, hopefully you have a fairly good understanding of the structure of kidneys and how the blood vessels are related up to this point. Does anybody have any questions? All right, let's do 2 polls and then we're gonna take a break. Oh, we haven't done that yet. I have to teach you first. How about this one though? Let me see. How about this one? Okay. So just to quickly refresh your memory again, this is the cone, this is the pyramid. Okay. And the ones on the side, those are the interlobar, arcuate, and then the cortical radii. So over here, that's C interlobar. This one here is arcuate. And then these ones, that's the CRA, the cortical radii artery. Right, so the answer is A. The cortical radii artery radiates from the arcuate artery. Okay, We will be labeling the study guide afterwards. So if you don't have the study guide, please go download a copy. Print it out if you could, because we need to label this one, okay? This is very confusing. Okay, we're gonna have to label this one. Okay, you can see it's like impossible to draw this almost, and you need to have a diagram here. Okay, so see you in a bit. Let's just take 5. We'll come back at 9:45. Okay, sorry, 9:50. I mean, see you in a bit. All right, let's keep going. Now, before we go and label this very complicated diagram, I'm just gonna go through like a simpler version of this first. Okay, so know that the actual thing is like this. These two pictures are pictures of the same thing, by the way. But this one is all coiled up, whereas this one is, you know, a little bit uncoiled, and you can see it in a more, you know, simplified way. So this here, what we're looking at is something called a nephron. Okay, nephron. And you know, all the notes are in the PowerPoint, but very briefly, nephrons, they are the functional unit of the kidney. Okay, in other words, the kidney works because many nephrons are working together to filter your blood to produce the urine. Okay, so you have about like 1 million of these in the kidney. Okay, so nephrons, the functional unit of a kidney. Okay, millions of these in each of the kidney, I should say. The best way to think of the nephron, it's like a crazy straw. Don't draw this. You know, crazy straw. Like you know, sometimes if you see this in Dollarama, I suppose. I think my kids might have one of these at one time. You know, it's just like a straw that's like, you know, all twisted up, right? And then you put it in your beverage, right? So it's exactly like that. It's twisted up, and it's all packed into the kidney. And what's important to remember is that just like the straw, the nephron is hollow on the inside. Okay. So this whole thing is basically a nephron. Now, where do you find the nephron? Basically, and you can draw this if you want. Basically, you have your kidneys here. That's better. And then you have your pyramid, right? So the nephron is going to be like this. Okay? There's going to be the ball at the beginning, and then it's going to dip down and like that. That's where you'll find the nephron. This is not to scale. The nephron is much smaller. Okay. And again, you have like 1 million of these packed into each of the kidneys. But part of it is going to be in the medulla, and part of it is going to be in the cortex. Now, I'll tell you which part is where later on. But I just want you to have a visual understanding of like where the nephron is going to be. Okay, maybe I show you the PowerPoint again. This purple thing here. Oops. This purple thing, that's the nephron. You can see some of it is going to loop down and then come back up. Okay, so part of it is in the cortex, part of it is in the medulla. Okay, so let's take a look at this situation here. Let's label the nephron first. So the nephron has a ball structure here, like a spherical chamber at the beginning. That chamber is called the Bowman's capsule. Bowman is the person's name. Okay, Bowman's capsule. Sometimes it's also called the glomerular capsule. Glomerular. It's really, I have a hard time saying this word, but that's how you say it. Glomerular capsule. Right? Or Bowman's capsule. Now, there is a blood vessel that's going to be sending blood into the Bowman's. It's going to be feeding into the Bowman's capsule. And this blood vessel is one that we've learned already before the break. This is the afferent arterial. Afferent arterial. Now, if you have a hard time connecting everything, let me try this for you. Okay. You can do this. Okay. There is the edge of the pyramid, if you would. Okay, there's the edge of the pyramid. So this is renal cortex. This is renal medulla. Hey, which one is saltier? Do you remember?
Inner
You know,
side.
medulla,
The
inside.
medulla, the inside, the medulla. That's right. Very good. Now, again, you draw as much as you think is necessary, but there's going to be a blood vessel here, right? Okay. I wouldn't go all the way. Don't want to confuse you too much. It's already confusing. This one is the arcuate artery. And then we have the little hair coming up, right? They are blood vessels. The hair coming up. And coming off from one of these hair is going to be the afferent arterial. I mean, that one's going to feed into another Bowman's capsule. That one's going to feed into another one, and so on and so forth. Okay. So this pink one right here, cortical radii artery. Okay. Are we okay? Can you let me know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. The rest of the class. Everybody with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So the afferent arterial, it's gonna basically feed the blood. If you remember, right, it's like 1.1 liters of blood going through the kidney every minute, right? So the afferent arterial is gonna feed into another network of blood vessel here, shown here by the by this flower-looking structure, and that is called. Let me see where I should put this. It's running out of space. Let's say this is called. I'm sorry. I have to think ahead with about all the things that we're gonna label later. I'm just trying to see what's the best place to put it. That's called the glomerulus. Glomerulus. Okay. It is a network of capillary. Glomerulus. Now, capillaries is one of the first things I taught you, right? If you have to describe capillaries, what word would you use? There's one word I keep on telling you back then. Say, you know, capillaries are blank. Do you remember what the blank is?
It's like a net.
Yeah, it's like a net. And what about the walls of it? Like, how would you describe it? Like, what word did I keep on using back then? It's leaky. Remember I say capillaries are leaky. Fluid keeps on leaking out, right? That's why we have the, you know, the blood pressure pushing things out, right? So regular capillaries are leaky. Glomerulus is extra leaky. Okay, even more leaky than regular capillaries. And so when the blood goes in, when the afferent arteriole feeds the blood into the glomerulus, the fluid portion of the blood, and along with some of the stuff that are dissolved in it, it's gonna get pushed out from the glomerulus. Okay, and all that fluid that gets pushed out, it's gonna be captured by the Bowman's capsule. Do you understand that? So you're gonna have all these stuff coming out of the glomerulus, and the Bowman's capsule, it's gonna catch all of it. Okay. So the fluid inside the nephron is called filtrate. Filtrate. Okay. So again, think of the nephron as the straw, right? The liquid inside the straw. That's the filtrate. And the filtrate is what will become the urine later on. It's not urine yet. We still have to, you know, change the content a little bit. We probably learn that next class. Okay? But you know, the filtrate, it's ultimately what will become the urine. Now, not everything that goes into the glomerulus is gonna get squeezed out. Otherwise, we're just gonna end up, you know, losing all the liquid, right? So some of it does not get filtered, and then it will come back out. Right, so there's an arrow coming out here, and the opposite of afferent, as you probably know by now, is efferent. Efferent arteriole. Okay. We'll finish the blood vessels in a bit. Let's turn our focus back to the nephron. Okay, so all those filtrate that was captured by the Bowman's capsule is now going to continue on. Right? It's going to basically follow the nephron, and you know, you can draw the arrows if you want. It's going to follow all the twists and turns. And along the way, the filtrate is actually going to get adjusted. You might add some stuff to it. You might take some things back. You're going to adjust the content of the filtrate until at the end, it just becomes the urine. So this first part of the nephron right here, this first part here, it's very twisted up. They already untwisted a little bit for you. This part is called, maybe I'll just use a different color. Okay, to show you, this is called a proximal tubule. Right, this first part right there, proximal tubule. It's the part that's like closer, okay, closer to the beginning, proximal tubules. And then we're gonna have this loop that goes down. Take a nice dip into the medulla and then comes back up. This dip, this loop is called the loop of Henle. Henle is a person. Probably discovered the loop. Now there is the loop that goes down. There's a loop that goes down. That's the descending limb. And of course, you're gonna have the ascending limb. Okay, goes down, comes back up. Not all the nephrons are gonna dip into the medulla. Some of them are gonna dip more than others. Okay, you might have another nephron here that doesn't go down. Okay, doesn't really matter. Some does, some don't. Most do. Okay, so then coming up here, we're gonna have this part here. Okay, so sorry, I guess I should be consistent with my color. Loop of Henle. Okay, anybody want to take a guess what that might be? If this is the proximal tubule, this must be. What's the opposite of proximal, huh?
Distal?
That's the distal tubule right here. Okay. Some textbook will say proximal, and then they add an adjective like proximal convoluted tubule, PCT. Convoluted just means it's like all twisted up, right? We're just gonna say proximal tubule, distal tubule. And then the last stretch, the final stretch right here, that is called the collecting duct. Collecting duct. And the collecting duct is going to go all the way deep, deep, deep into the medulla. And by this time, the filtrate is pretty much the urine. Okay, now I'm going to zoom out here and see if you can, visualize. I can't really fit everything here, but let's draw the pyramid here again. Okay, just take a look, please. Oh boy, there we go. That's the pyramid. We have the Bowman's capsule, proximal tubule, loop of Henle, distal tubule, and then the collecting duct goes way deep, 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 all the way to the, what's that thing again? What is that part?
Papilla?
All the way to the papilla is right. Okay, so like you might have another nephron here. I'm just gonna use a different color. Right. Loop of Henle might or might not dip, but then the collecting duct dips. So million of these nephrons, all of them has the filtrate in it, and it's just gonna drip, 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 and produce urine all the way to the papilla. Okay, so this is here gonna be to the renal papilla. Okay, and you can finish the story, right? Renal papilla, minor calyx, dot, 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 okay? Just copy from before. Major calyx, renal, pelvis, ureter, urinary bladder, urethra, out. And this happens 24/7. We never stop filtering our blood. Okay, that's what the kidneys are for. Does anybody have any question? Okay. So this next part, I mean, up to you. If you want to draw it, draw it. I think maybe just see me watch me do it, and then you know it's gonna be more clear on the next diagram. I don't want you to ruin yours. Okay, so the story was like, you know, the blood comes in from the afferent arteriole. It's gonna get pushed through the glomerulus, and then you know the contents of the blood leaks out, captured by the Bowman's capsule, and that's gonna become the urine, right? Whatever it's not filtered out, it's gonna come back out through the efferent arteriole, and the efferent arteriole is actually gonna open up into a web, an other network of capillary. Okay, and it's gonna, you know, go from pink to blue, if you would, yeah, like that. And this network of blood vessels, and again, you might not want to draw this because, you know, it's gonna make your diagram very busy. This network of capillary is always next to the nephron. Okay, and eventually they're gonna come back out, and that's when you're gonna reform. Oops, that's not a good one. And that's where it's gonna eventually, you know, come back out. Oh my goodness, sorry. That's where it's gonna eventually come back out and form the cortical radiate vein, right? And then it's gonna become the arcuate vein. Yeah, so that's the cortical radiate vein, and then that's the arcuate vein, and that completes the whole circulation. Remember, there's that, like, you know, blank that I didn't tell you about before the break. Well, that's what's happening in between. Okay? So this whole network of blood vessels that are next to the nephron, this is called peri. Peri means next to. Next to what? Well, next to the tube, next to the nephron. Peritubular capillary. Okay. So I want you to think of the nephron is one way, and then right next to it, almost parallel to it, is your peritubular capillary. So as the filtrate continues through the nephron, you will take things from the filtrate and put it back into the capillary, and then you will take things from the capillary and put it into the filtrate. So there is this like constant exchange of materials throughout the whole nephron, and you're basically like fine-tuning the contents of the urine. So like you might not want to lose all the glucose, so you want to take some back. Maybe you have too much sodium in the body right now and you want to get rid of extra ones, so you would take it from the blood and put it in the nephron, right? So that's why the peritubular capillaries, it's always parallel, right next to the nephron. So you can easily exchange contents between the blood and the filtrate. Questions? All right. Let's label this one together, just to help you understand a little bit more. We will start by coloring the nephron.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
How that know how much need or how much must be throughout? Must be throughout.
How much should you draw? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, like a sugar, like a sodium, like a.
Sorry, one. What's the question again? I might have misunderstood you. One more time.
After filtering,
Mhm.
they come back to get some like a sodium glucose.
Right.
How I understand how much body need sugar, like it.
Right, exactly, right. So like it depends on your current body state, right? If you are running low on calcium, then there are hormones that will tell your kidneys to, keep as much calcium as possible. If you already have a lot of calcium, then there is also a hormone that tells your kidney to, get rid of the excess calcium. You don't need as many. Right? So it turns out each of the substance are mostly regulated based on how much you already have. Okay. So if you already have a lot of glucose in the blood, then you try to get rid of them in the urine, right? So people who are diabetic, if they're not taking insulin, type 1 diabetes, okay? If they're not taking insulin, then there's like way too much sugar in the bloodstream and it ends up coming out from the urine, right? Yeah. So like that's why the dipstick, when they test the urine, it tests for sugar content. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, because I'm diabetic level 2. I was thinking exactly about it.
Right, exactly. So in type 2 diabetes, the taking insulin is not going to help though, right? We're going to learn more about that later. But whatever your body cannot absorb, you might end up excreting it in the urine. Okay, so here it's a very busy diagram, and I would recommend coloring the nephron. And I mean, if you are not doing this with me now, that's fine. You can watch the video later and and hopefully sort it out yourself. So here is the nephron, and it's actually all twisted up like that in the kidney. And what I find really helpful is that we should draw arrows in it to help trace the path. Okay, so the field tray is going to go this way, and then it's going to follow the twists and turns. Okay, there is a loop right there. It's going to go down, come back up. Right? So I just find it helpful to trace it out with arrows, so I know what I'm looking at. Okay. So let's start with number 1. Okay, number 1. What is number 1? Which part of the nephron are we looking at for number
Bowman's
1?
capsule.
That is the Bowman's capsule. Very good. And let's move it along. Follow the path. And you will see we get to number 13. Number 13. Okay, feel free. If you recognize any of these, feel free to type it in the chat box and let me know. But what is 13?
Proximal tube.
That is the proximal tubule. Very good.
Sorry, why is 14 not the proximal one?
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to see, eh? 14 is actually pointing at the blood vessels here. If I zoom in for you, you can see it's actually pointing right at the blood vessel. Okay. Now I'm not gonna color the whole blood vessel. You can. It can be like a mindfulness activity, maybe. But what is 14 though? Now that you know it's pointing at the blood vessels. What is the name of those blood vessels? So they are the blood vessels that are always next to the nephron I was telling you about. They are called peritubular capillary. Peritubular capillary allows the exchange of materials, right? Yes. So Sarah says number 15 is the glomerulus. Very good. Glomerulus. I guess I'll just use red for the blood vessels. Glomerulus. This is right here. All these blood vessels, right? Someone else, was it Blessing? Yeah, Blessing said collecting dot is 11. That's correct. Anything else?
10 is the loop of Henle in the ascending and descending.
Yep, number
Correct,
10
okay.
is the loop of Henle. It might or might not dip into the medulla. It probably does, but some don't. Okay, there should be one more easy one that we can pick out. Anything at all?
Would 12 be the distal tubule then?
Yep. Distal tubule. There we go. So that's the nephron, okay? And you can see, I mean, I didn't color all of it, but that's the peritubular capillary, right? It's literally right next to the nephron. It's almost like those, those ivy that grows on the side of the building, which just like crawls all over the place. Okay. Couple other things here. We have the blood vessel that feeds into the glomerulus. And hopefully you remember that one is the afferent arteriole. And take a look at all the diagrams we drew. Right. Which one is this one? The blood's going to be coming up, and then you're gonna branch off. Sorry, which one is it?
Internal artery.
No, good try though. Good try.
Cortical artery.
That's right. This is the cortical radiate artery. Okay. Again, think of the pyramid, little hair, right? And here is the cortical radiate artery. Okay, what about this guy? What about this one right here? What is that? I'm gonna draw the pyramid to help you. This is not to scale. Okay? I'm just drawing the pyramid to help you see it. And that's the pyramid. What's number 6? Please.
The arcuate artery?
That's the one. That is the one.
Interlobar artery.
Arcuate, actually. Yeah, arcuate artery. Arcuate artery. The interlobar is the one that comes up from the side. Okay. Like if you want, this one is the interlobar. It comes up from the side, and then it arches on the outside, right? Okay. Which actually would be right here. I'm sorry. Let me try that one more time. So sorry. Okay, let me draw the pyramid again. Let's just draw a smaller one this time. Smaller, pyramid. Right here. Number 8, right? Number 8 is the interlobar. The one that goes up the side. Okay, I think we did all the difficult ones. The rest are just the vein counterpart. There we go. There. So number 5 here, we have the cortical radii vein. 7 arcuate vein. Interlobar vein. Hey, at least you guys don't have to label a diagram physically for the online assessment. So maybe that's a bit of a relief. Okay, one last one. Number 3. What is number 3? Number 3. That's coming out of the glomerulus.
The efferent pathway.
That would be the efferent, yeah. Arterial though. Pathway is, I think you're thinking about the nervous system.
Sorry, yeah, I forgot the artery. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. Okay, very, very busy. Okay, so just go through a few more slides with you. And then that will be it for today. All right, so this one we didn't do yet. Maybe we can do it now. Okay, good. I gotta have about half of the answers. Anyone else? Okay, correct answer is the glomerulus. Right, glomerulus. Afferent arteriole, glomerulus, efferent arteriole. Okay, we did this one already. Each kidney is composed of over 1 million nephrons. I've been telling you the whole time. They are microscopic structure that are functional units of the kidney. It's empty on the inside. The walls are made up of cells that helps to exchange material with the peritubular capillaries. The Bowman's capsule first, or the glomerular capsule, proximal tubule, loop of Henle, distal tubule, and collecting duct. Okay, we draw it like this: Bowman's capsule, PT, loop of Henle, distal tubule, and then collecting duct. Okay. From the collecting duct, you can finish the path, right? Papilla, minor calyx, major calyx, so on and so forth. Recite it a couple of times, then you'll remember. So if you take a slice of the pyramid, you will see like this. Okay, and then you will see all the structure that we've labeled. This is a simplified version. You can see the peritubular capillary is wrapping around. It's entangled with the nephron. And like I told you, sometimes they call it proximal convoluted tubule, distal convoluted tubule. Convoluted just means it's all twisted up. Just stick with proximal tubule. It's fine. All right, let's see. Is that all? Anyone else? Okay, so damage to the renal medulla. Basically, this is asking you which part of the loop of Henle is in the medulla. So there's the loop of Henle, and then there's the collecting duct, right? Okay. All these things are like in the cortex, so they're not going to be affected. Okay, so this is what you see. I mean, this is what it looks like. The little yellow, fluffy, it looks like a ball of yarn, right? That's actually what glomerulus mean. It's like a ball of yarn. So you see it right here. That's the glomerulus, and you can see the blood vessels that are feeding into it, right? I mean, I don't know if that's afferent or efferent. It's one of those. It's hard to tell. But in order for you to see the glomerulus, they actually have to dissolve away the Bowman's capsule, right? They actually taken away the Bowman's capsule because normally the Bowman's capsule is like covering the entire glomerulus, right? Okay. So another new word for you, the renal corpuscle is actually Bowman's capsule plus glomerulus. Together, it's called the renal corpuscle. Okay, it's like sausage plus the bun, you get the hot dog. It's two things together, renal corpuscle. That's all the anatomy for the kidney. Yeah, that's it for today. Wednesday, we'll do the physiology. We'll learn how the kidney works, how it actually makes urine. Okay. Study hard for the test. It's next Monday. Feel free to email me if you have questions about the study, test review, or stuff like that. Otherwise, that's it for today. I will see you all on Wednesday. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.